Hey everyone, Rashka here, and I'm here with Maelstrom, who is one of my buddies from Death Sand Brigade and an avid Mechwarrior Online player. And we're gonna have a segment today that we like to call Two Grumpy Old Men Talking and Rambling About Games, which is basically where we pick a game that we both love, we pick a subject in the game or a specific topic, and then we ramble about the pros and cons if we love it or hate it, which generally means that we probably have stuff to hate about it, but that's just the way we are. So, hello, Maelstrom.
Hello, how you doing? Personally, there's nothing that I hate about a game, but there are certain special features that I think need, readjustment.
Yeah, but to me, I mean, I think there are some games that do deserve a certain amount of hatred. I mean, I think Pokemon Go, but then again, they
Okay,
get people to get out of the house and walk around the park a bit more, so I guess that's a good thing.
right, exactly. And sometimes what I don't like about games like that is it might lead you into a dangerous spot for the more brave seekers. Um,
Yeah, and especially considering the current health crisis going on, I think it's probably not a good idea to go around meeting people to try to capture pets. But
exactly.
anyways, today's topic is going to be about MechWarrior Online and specifically the way that PGI designed weapon hardpoints, where it just seems to be a if it fits, it sits, it's perfectly fine. Anything so long as it fits and it's got the tonnage can carry that weapon, which personally I utterly disagree with.
So do I. I don't believe that a light mech should be able to carry an AC-20. To be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you think about it, right? It's like one nice thing about BattleTech and MechWarrior is that mechs were built for a purpose, and each mech had a certain flavor to it. Like an awesome would immediately be a fantastic LRM boat, or an Atlas was just this all-round tank, but basically more of a brawler than a long-range sniper mech in that sense. Whereas traditionally speaking, something like a rifleman or a Jaeger mech was actually an anti-aircraft mech, but you can just see it as a long-range DACA mech, and they do, that's the job they're supposed to do well. But when you say that, oh, this mech is just going to have a ballistic slot, and you can slot in any weapon you want to, regardless of whether or not the mech was initially designed for that, that's just illogical. I mean, we've all seen that Raven go around with an AC-20, right? The boom chicken, right?
Right,
And it's like, yeah, a
right,
Raven is never designed for it. A Raven is a scout mech. It's an intelligence mech. It's meant to have the good
right.
sensors. It's meant to tag enemies for your lurm boats. But if a Raven, well, for one thing, where an AC-20 would even fit, right? But then if a Raven fires an AC-20, yeah, I'm sorry, the Raven's supposed to be flying off in the other direction. Maybe the shell gets left behind.
Correct, correct. That's why I like the idea of dragon bowling. You
Exactly.
know, because the small mechs, they shouldn't be able to stand in the way of a larger mech and not fall down. Um, for example, the Hunchback 4G, classic AC-20 mech,
Mm-hmm.
classic. That mech should have the best AC-20 quirks. It already has the pitch and the yaw, and it should be able to get in there and brawl with an AC-20. And it should have the best AC-20 quirks in the game. I know I said that, but I repeat myself a lot.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. And that's why, like, if you look at a hunchback, the reason why it's called a hunchback, the reason why it's got that gigantic lump on its right shoulder is because it was designed to carry a heavy AC-20, designed to be able to take the recoil, right? You can't tell me that I could now switch to a Raven, which is this small little running chicken, and then have it have an AC-20 as well. And for some reason, it works perfectly fine.
Right. Well, the AC-20 is so bulky that the chances are it's going to slow the chicken down, and it's also going to. I don't even know if the legs could handle it balance wise. It's a big weapon.
Exactly. It's a big weapon. The chassis was not designed for it. It doesn't have the shock dampers. It doesn't have, it's like if you fired it, if you put it into a Raven, there should be massive penalties, And I know PGI, like you brought up the point of quirks, right? So PGI is trying to compensate for this, what I would really classify as a goof up, by giving quirks, right? Like AC-20 cooldown quirks or AC-20 fire, range quirks, whatever it might be, or ammo quirk. But realistically speaking, if I put an AC-20 into a Raven, turn it into a boom chicken, the moment that thing goes off, that Raven should be spun 180 degrees and have a really huge chance of missing with that shell.
True. That's very true, because just the recoil alone is going to put it on its butt.
Exactly. You might say, okay, I might make an exception for something like, for example, an urban mech whose entire right arm was turned into like one big ballistic slot, right? So you can say, okay,
Correct.
that's designed for it. Or let's say a centurion, right? Classic mech where the left arm is the shield, which doesn't really work or apply in Mechwarrior Online, but that's a whole topic for another day. But the entire right arm is basically an AC-20 slot. Is that's how it was designed.
Correct.
Yeah, it just pisses me off.
Right. Well, the urban mech, it's short, it's squat, it has, it's designed for brawling. It's not supposed to be fast. That's why the legs are bigger than any other light mech.
Yep.
And it doesn't need to be fast. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be fast or agile, because it could do a full 360.
Exactly. And like the name implies, it was designed as like an urban policing, urban combat mech, right? It's meant to zip and dodge and duck between buildings and quickly circle around where a big mech might get stuck. And then just tap at you while you're running away, or to take out those enemy armored vehicles or whatever might show up. That's what it's designed for. So it's fine in that sense. But like you say, we go back to the Hunchback, and it's got that gigantic, massive hump that's like half the size of the entire mech, and that's just to dampen the AC-20. We could also look at this. This is just my favorite example, right? Let's just go all the way up to the assaults, and then let's go to the where do I have? Yeah, let's go to the Cyclops, right?
All right. Let me go to my Cyclops, and I'll take a look with you.
Right. So let's take a look.
That's one of my favorite mechs. It's supposed to be a command mech.
Exactly. Right. So let's take a look at something like, say, the 11A or something. Right. 11A, or was it?
I think it's the
S.
Z.
Yes, it's the Sleipnir.
Right. I don't. Yeah, I do own a Sleipnir. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Okay,
All right, go ahead.
Okay, but basically, when the Sleipnir came out, I mean, the weapons that came out at the same time as the Sleipnir was the Heavy Gauss. And immediately you saw Sleipnir pilots out there with dual Heavy Gauss, which you might think, oh, that sounds fine. But it's not. Because the Sleipnir was never designed to carry Heavy Gauss. That's exactly why we have the Fafnir. And the whole point of the Fafnir, with these two gigantic jet engine torsos on the side, is to be a platform designed specifically around carrying Heavy Gauss. So you can't tell me that, yes, a Sleipnir can carry Heavy Gauss just as well and just as fine as a mech that was purpose-built to carry dual Heavy Gauss. You lose the flavor. By the time the Fafnir came out, everyone was getting sick and tired of Heavy Gauss because every single Sleipnir and Cyclops out there had them already.
Very true.
And
right.
That's the thing. Just lose that flavor.
Right. Every mech, because I know people that if they already have a mech that they can do something with, they don't buy any mech because there's no specializations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there's no restrictions.
Yep.
Because, for example, yeah, the Sleipnir can carry those two, but it's a command mech. It's supposed to have a command module in it. It's supposed to have, all the different quirks for sensors.
Yep. Which is why it's got the gigantic antenna at the back as well.
Exactly. And that's why they had, and nobody because I know there's this offense culture, the victimhood culture, but they had the master and the slave.
Yep.
Because that was helpful in you know, assisting other mechs to boost their sensors
Mm-hmm.
and abilities, you know, targeting,
Yeah.
etc.
Which is exactly what we
And
even see with modern warfare, right? Like the F-35, that expensive jet. It's not a dogfighter. It's meant to be the command module for a squadron of F-22s. To give them that sensor feedback, to feed them information on the enemy. The F-22s are far better brawlers, and that's what they're designed for. The F-35 is meant to be the stealthy command mech with a fantastic sensor array that just can't be found.
exactly, exactly. And when you have those sensors, that's another thing that's not taken into account is I don't think that when the sensors are built in, I don't believe that PGI actually takes it into account that that's part of the weight.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, the Sleipnir does have some slight quirks, like longer sensor range and stuff like that. But if you think about it, it should have a default anti ECM jamming, right? It should have
Right,
the
right,
equivalent
right.
of like if you are being targeted by a Cyclops mech, because technically all Cyclopses are command mods, right? If you're being targeted by a Cyclops mech, then all your missile boats should have an easier time locking on, as if they had Artemis, for example.
Exactly. I agree. I agree. The larger mechs, you should be able to lock onto them faster because they have a uh, what do they call that? A sensor profile. They have a bigger profile,
Yeah, yeah, they do, and
and
yeah.
and and the and what for example, to me, one of the best uh, quote unquote quirk sets, the quirks,
Mm.
is for the Ravenel because people are encouraged to use it for what it's intended to be used for
Yep.
and not a dual ER laser sniper.
Exactly, and we remember all those matches where you're just looking around. Remember that one, the snowy Highlands map, where you might have a
Yep.
Raven running all the way around the edge of the map and just taking pot shots at you with dual large laser, and you can never catch it because you're too slow.
Right.
But that's not,
Exactly.
yeah, but that's not really what the Raven was designed for. The Raven was supposed to be that scout.
Mm-hmm.
It is
Right.
a classically designed scout, sneaky, improved sensor package, and aid the whole lance, not be the brawler that goes in there and kills assaults with SRM4s. I mean, but yeah, so it's that flavor, and I see some mechs still retain some of that flavor, right? So, for example, if you take a look at if you take a look at the Corsair, I think it was the 7R or the 7A, which has the quad AMS,
Right.
right? Yeah, the 7A with the quad AMS. I mean, that's just okay, an anti-missile monster, fantastic, you know. But again, it should not be able to carry a heavy Gauss. It's just not designed for that, you know. Um, yeah, don't I mean coming back to the Sleipnir? Don't get me wrong, the Sleipnir is a fantastic mech, but it should not be able to carry dual heavy Gauss. That's something that should be reserved for the Fafnir, so that when you see a Fafnir on the field, you're like, oh crap, I have to watch out. This thing might take a limb off with a single shot. But nowadays, it's like,
Exactly.
yeah, Fafnir comes along, Cyclops comes along, Annihilator comes along. They all could be carrying dual heavy Gauss. And so it's like, okay, it's a generic cookie cutter system, right? Assault inner sphere equals maybe heavy Gauss or whatever it might be.
Right.
Just,
Right. Right.
uh, it gets my
I
goat
mean, and
because, yeah,
it's rather annoying to because I mean to the newer players, the people that were attracted from say Mechwarrior 5, the kids, it probably doesn't matter to them. But to the old school players like you and I, back in the day when I played tabletop and we incorporated the Mechwarrior RPG rules
yep,
with
yep,
it,
yep,
it mattered. When you saw a battle master, okay, you knew that you had to watch out for certain things. When you saw a Cyclops, you had to watch out for certain things. If
yep.
there was an Axeman on the field, you had to watch out for certain things. And in particular, one of the mechs that I used to look for was the Hunchback because you had to watch out for the AC-20.
Exactly. Right. And if you saw like a Warhammer, you're like, okay, I have to watch out for dual PPCs flying my way. You know, that flavor was just kind of removed, in the Battle Master as well, and And that's the thing. Like, there's some mechs where you go like, classically it's a brawler mech, and it should be a brawler mech. But if you choose to give it a loadout that it was not designed for, it shouldn't have any quirks. It should have massive penalty.
Right. I completely agree. If you're gonna put an AC-20 on a Raven, okay, fine. No, they shouldn't be able to. But in the event they are able, there should be a chance that they break a leg.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it'd be like you or I picking up like a ship-bound ballista. Maybe we can barely pick it up, but the moment we fire that thing, the recoil should be taking like our arm off or something.
Exactly. I mean, just like even if you're firing a 12 gauge, you have to know how to stand.
Yep.
There's a certain posture.
Absolutely.
Because for example, even like when I was a child, I fired one, and I watched what my father was doing when I fired it. My cousin didn't. He fell on his butt. I didn't. Did it hurt? Yes, but there should be a penalty. There's no way a 12-year-old should be firing a 12 gauge. It's a potent weapon, just like even an AC-10 on a Raven. Sorry, it's got some kick.
Absolutely. And I guess for me the problem is that, I mean, you take a look at all the great work that like Alex from the art team put into designing the mechs, right? To take it from the old tabletop or even the old Sarna designs and just create these beautiful variants and ideas and just make them look modern and make them look like really, really cool. And then because of the system that PGI put up with the weapons, they just kind of turn into cookie cutter, same bland vanilla meh.
True. Very true.
It's like if you see a Fafnir, a Cyclops, and an Annihilator walking up to you, they could all have jewel gauze.
They could.
And that's just not right to me. Okay, sure, an Annihilator would have more armor, a Fafnir with a lot of armor, Cyclops will be more mobile maybe. But in terms of weapons loadout, they shouldn't be able to carry the exact same thing. It just makes no sense to me.
Right. Like an Annihilator, that's a perfect platform for like LB10.
AC-20s, yeah.
Exactly. Or even racks.
Yes.
I've seen some very good racks or very good builds where they had 2 rack 5s and 4 normal AC2s or LB2s.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's one of
Annihilator.
One of my favorite builds, actually. What do I have in here? Yeah, I got like 2 Ultra AC5s, 2 Ultra AC10s, 4 AC5s, dual rack 2, for example. What do I have in this one here? Yeah, 4 AC10s. Sure, why not? But yeah, when you get a mech designed from the ground up for a weapon, whether it's the Hunchback or the Fafnir, right? It just makes no sense that other mechs can have the exact same weapons and are as good at carrying those weapons.
Amen.
I would say that, for me though, this really applies more to the Inner Sphere. Primarily because on the clan side, they really did redesign their mechs to be more omni-mechs, right? To be more pods and modular and things like that. So I can kind of understand it a bit more from a clan mech perspective, but not the light mech carrying an AC-20 perspective. To me, that shouldn't work on the clan side either.
True. It shouldn't, because again, their legs are small.
Yeah.
I could see maybe putting a specialized loadout on maybe an adder because the legs are a little bigger, but not an AC-20.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then you take a look, like even the Hunchback 2C, right, which is where the clan took the classic Hunchback and then improved on it. It's got those massive humps on the shoulders too in this case, right? So you got double Quasimodo effect because it's designed to carry 2 AC-20s. So you can't tell me then that this is going to be perfectly fine in a light mech. But The majority of the clan light mechs though are just really good missile boats. They're really good laser boats as well, right? Small pulse lasers, medium pulse lasers, and that's
Agreed.
fantastic for them. That's exactly what they should have.
Exactly. I totally agree.
Yeah, it's just
And
yeah.
for example, fire starter.
Oh yeah,
It's fire. It was designed to clear just forests so that, you know, the other mechs could have a greater line of sight. You know, a kill zone creator.
exactly.
Um,
Or like to create so much fire that other mechs, like larger mechs, the enemy mechs, will not want to walk into it because they would overheat their mechs. So you're kind of funneling them into the desired path for an ambush or for a firing line.
right.
But
I
yeah, I mean,
totally agree.
okay, if you say that the fire starter, like remember when the fire starter first came out and people started putting on a lot of flamers, and the flamers were then used to overheat mechs? Fantastic.
Right.
No complaints. That's a perfect use of a mech that was designed to carry a whole bunch of flamers.
Right. So put like, 4 flamers, a couple of small pulses, and maybe a couple heavy machine guns or light machine guns, and make it a can opener.
Yeah. Make it the mech that shuts down other mechs so that your assaults can rip it apart. Fantastic. No problems, right? But then when I see like locusts running around with a rack 2, I really?
Yeah,
Like you
that's like giving a machine gun to a baby. I mean, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all, or like the boom chicken, right? The Raven with an AC-20, like you say. It's like handing a shotgun, 12 gauge to an 8-year-old in that sense, right? I mean, okay, not that you should ever do it. We're not advocating gun violence. We're just talking about recoil here.
Right? Yeah.
It shouldn't
Attention,
be.
gun grabbers, relax.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly. It's like, just calm down. We're not advocating anything here. I'm just saying that
Exactly.
if you imagine what would happen, if you've ever seen any videos on YouTube of like little kids that are on a firing range and their dad hands them a gun, they shoot, and then the gun just smacks them in the face. That's
Mm-hmm.
why you don't give a big weapon to a small platform, in this case, like a
Right.
child or a small mech. It's just
Right.
physics, It's with an
Right.
AC-20. It's kind of like, if you imagine it, you're firing
Mhm.
a battleship shell, right? Like one of those World War II huge battleships, those massive main cannons, and you're putting that onto a rowboat.
Well, if you point it backwards, now you have a jet engine on a rowboat.
Yeah, but the point is, when you fire that thing, there's not going to be anything left where you hit and where you were. It's just going to be toothpicks.
Exactly.
Oh, just
Uh,
that just
I
gets.
just see it, and the thing is, I am not generally a quote unquote complainer. When I run into something that I don't like, unlike others, I don't run to the forums.
Yeah.
I don't complain to other gamers.
Yep, exactly.
This platform, perhaps PGI will see it. That's why I'm doing this. If it's constructive, like we're doing, I like it.
Yeah, and
But if it's counterproductive,
yeah, absolutely.
not so much. But
Yeah.
this is great. We're having a discussion, a couple of grumpy old gamers having a discussion about the mechs we love so much and why certain things should be specialized. Like
Exactly.
we're talking about the Cyclops right now. This ECM Cyclops, okay, I have Guardian ECM, Beagle Active Probe. I don't have any LRMs on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have MRMs and a NARC, but I put 2 LB10Xs on it because I could.
Yeah.
And this is a great build for the current state of the union, but I want to put together a more cyclopean build. But like I said, I put 2 LBXs on it because I could.
Exactly. And kind of like I fully agree with this. We're not saying this game sucks because they did this. No. We're saying this because we love this game, but it just could be so much better. It could be so much more exciting. It could be so much more flavorful in that sense, right? Like if it's like D&D, right? A mage is a mage. A mage is never going to be a good fighter. A fighter is never going to be a good mage because they have different specializations, and that's good. You want to have that balance in a team instead of dropping with 5 different mechs with all of the exact same weapons loadout. That's just, you're just turning everything into prison gruel. Every day it's the
Right.
same thing. You don't know if it contains paper, sawdust, or something else.
Exactly. And it's that something else you have to watch out for.
Yeah, just watch out for the raisins, because those aren't raisins.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. But
You know?
anyways, I mean, that's just kind of what I wanted to talk about today. And if anyone out there, if you're listening to this, if you listen to us ramble to this point, if you agree with us, if you disagree with us, let us know. If you'd like to come onto the show as well, like if you want to share your opinions, ping me. Absolutely. Just leave a comment, send me a direct
Exactly.
message. We love talking to people out there. So
Exactly.
maybe next week, what are we going to talk about? I don't know. Dungeons and Dragons, maybe?
Perhaps we could talk about Dungeons and Dragons. We could talk more about this, or we could have Maelstrom gets mentored and play something else.
Ooh,
I
yes.
don't care.
Yeah, let's
I don't care.
let's see what we can do. But
And Paul, if you're listening and stuff and watching, please take these ideas into consideration, because I guarantee the old school would probably come back, and you'd get a whole lot of new school. You get a whole lot of new school. This game, I love it. I want to see. Like right now, we have a massive revival because of the hybrid queue. I want more. I want more. I want more people.
Yeah. Paul Inoue, Russ Bullock, if you're listening, we love your work. We love the game. Please let us love it more. Help us to love it more.
Right.
Help us help you.
Exactly. Help us to help you. See, we're not running to the forums and crying, which is where the tears go. We're talking to everybody, you in particular. Help us.
Well, anyways, so I guess that's it for this particular segment. Anyways, look, if anyone out there who's listening, if you like it, let me know. If you don't like it, let me know. If there's a specific game or topic you want us to talk about, let me know. If you'd like to join in the show as well, like if you're one of the other regular players out there, let us know. Whatever it is, let me know. And if you like stuff that we put out, it'd be great if you subscribed. Always helps us. And yeah, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Like, comment, subscribe. Love your face.
Oh, so sweet. Yeah, I'm just wearing King Crab right now. That's my face right there.